Now, funeral directors are accusing major insurance companies of failing to pay funeral claims on time. They'll be marching this morning to the Financial Sector Conduct Authority offices in Pretoria. The standard claim time is 48 hours. However, many insurance claims are processed only a month later. This has impacted funeral services as well as the people rendering services to these companies. The burial of COVID-19 victims must take place within 5 days, but these companies have not been able to meet the stipulated deadline and claims are paid much later. For more on this, we're joined by our reporter Ofentse Setemo. Ofentse, give us a sense of the demands that are being made here and what's happening where you are.
Thank you very much, Desiree. Well, what I can tell you is that the Financial Sector Conduct Authority is highly regulated and actually makes doing business for funeral parlors very difficult. And that's not my opinion. That's actually the opinion of the National Funeral Association of South Africa, which is actually going to be marching to the fiscal offices. And here I'm joined by Dedi Mputwe, who's just going to elaborate on why they decided to launch this march to the fiscal offices here in Pretoria. Thank you so much for your time, Dedi. Just elaborate a bit further on the purpose of this march.
Yes, the purpose of this march, sir, we are going to hand over a memorandum to FISCA. The reason why, FISCA have drafted laws that is binding the funeral undertakers to underwrite with the insurers. But the very same insurers that FISCA are not regulating but regulating us are making life difficult for us. First, point number one, we are underwritten by various insurances. And these insurances, when you submit your claim, they pay after 2 weeks, some of them after a month. And the family of the deceased is there knocking at your office. She or he wants to do the burial. What must you do? Because the community is looking at you. You must continue with that burial without that claim. And then when you continue engaging with them, they will tell us about the claim ratio. Some of our claims are not paid. Some of our claims, they say that there are discrepancies in it. So we are sick and tired. We need the FSCA to intervene in this and says that, listen here, let the insurer pay our claims in time.
Thank you very much. I'm also joined by Mduduzile Masilela, the president of the Funeral Association. So if you can just elaborate, I hear that the regulations are based on developed countries as compared to how you operate. How do they hinder your operations? If you can elaborate. He mentioned the issue of delayment in paying the claims that you make. Just elaborate a bit further on some of the challenges you're facing.
The challenge is that when members join us, they don't join insurance companies. They join our companies. And again, if the claim takes more than 2 weeks to be paid, we cannot keep the body up to so much to the refrigerator. So that is why today we are not saying as an association we don't want to work with an FSCA, but we want to fix our relationship with an FSCA so that the same regulation, it may protect the funeral directors.
Yes, and you also mentioned the lack of financial education, the fact that there are brokers and there are insurers. Can you just differentiate between the two?
Okay, we are the funeral brokers according to the FSCA now, because we are the one looking out for sales. Then we come the juristic reps to the insurance companies. Now we are having a challenge because when you claim, you need to claim via the insurance companies. So the insurance companies, they now misuse the laws, because whenever we complain to them, they tell us about the FSCA. That is why today we have decided that let us visit the mother body of the insurance and have a communication with them so that this matter can be fixed and resolved.
In a nutshell, how would you want this matter resolved if the FSCA is listening right now?
We are not saying as an association we don't want to comply. We do want to comply. However, we want this compliance to work for both parties so that we can also be protected as a funeral directors. At the current point, I don't see us funeral directors be protected by this same law, because it's abusing us as if you are a slave to the insurance companies. We're now working for the insurance companies. We are no longer the owners of our businesses. We are told by the insurance companies, this month this is how much you're going to pay. You don't decide. They tell you how much you must charge the client. They even sometimes decide to say, we're not going to pay you the claim direct. We need to pay to the client. And at the end, insurance companies doesn't have a relationship with my client. They have a relationship with me because I'm the funeral parlor that signed a contract with the insurance companies.
Thank you so much. Well, as we heard, that's Mduma Silela, the president of the National Funeral Association of South Africa, actually saying that the FSCA is one-sided in the way it regulates the industry, whereas it favors the insurers on behalf, whereas it's supposed to be impartial. And with that, it's back to studio.